/Reddit. Smash the like button and destroy the subscribe button, and you will join our family.
What is the worst thing you did as a kid? And still feel guilty about? My friend and I discovered that a lighter and spray paint creates a flamethrower. Anyway, I accidentally burned the side of my friend's face. He's recovered just fine, but I'll never forget how loud my dad yelled at me when his mom came knocking on the door. I bought a car at 15, and when my parents were out, I'd drive to a gas station nearby, get an energy drink, and drive back. I probably went on 20 or so joyrides over that year. They never found out and I never got pulled over. But I still wonder what would have happened had I been caught. Undefined. As for the car itself, I bought it off of Craigslist. Basically an online yard sale. I paid for it with cash that I got from my bar mitzvah when I was 13. It was an '84 Nissan 200 SX. And this was in 2009 or so. So it was not an expensive car at all. Stole a quartz rock from my grandmother. I had one very similar and was convinced it was mine and that I had left it there. She told me it wasn't mine. Gave me a hug and a kiss. And, as a 6-year-old, I just fixated that it was mine. And I'm 99% sure it wasn't. Nothing is ever 100%, but yet, my grandmother, who did nothing but love me and shower me with love, affection, and attention, did not deserve to get her knickknack stolen by me. By the time I was a teenager, it totally ate me up. I never confessed and I wished I had. After she died, I had a dream where she came back to see me, and the first thing I did was cry and apologize. I once threw a rock at a pigeon. I didn't mean to hit him, I just wanted to see him fly off. He was pretty. I hit the pigeon. I still feel bad about that. I once broke one of my friend's heads open when we were having a rock fight. His crying still kinda haunts me. I have a mentally ill family member, and as a kid I could never make sense of it or why my parents weren't doing more. It was difficult to deal with, and I remember one day when I was like 7-8 years old I blamed my mom for it. Raised my voice at her and everything. Almost 15 years down the line I still feel very guilty about it. I don't remember exactly what I said, but I can very clearly remember the look on my mom's face. My siblings and I called the only other kid at our bus stop Picklehead because he always wore a green beanie. We were relentless, too, and teased the beep out of him. One day he tried wearing a different beanie, red one, and we ramped things up calling him Tomato Head. It's been almost 2 decades and I still don't know what the poor kid's actual name was. I stole from a friend of mine. A while back Burger King had a line of toys with its meals, and one of the toys was a wallet. I do not remember what the branding was, but I remember it being really cool. So one day I'm visiting a friend of mine and I see in his room that he has the wallet. I was insanely jealous, so when he wasn't looking I took everything out of it, hid the contents around his room, and pocketed the wallet. I then spent the rest of the day hanging out and playing, and at the end of the day left with my new prize. A poor large Irish family on my street gave one of their sons a black Trans Am model car as his only present at Christmas. They told him it was from Knight Rider, his favorite show. It wasn't. But it was a cool model. Not a small one, but a decent-sized effort with opening doors and the like. A good present basically. We, although mainly me, then told him on Christmas Day it wasn't Knight Rider. He was really young. Like 7. While we were about 12. He got upset and insisted it was Knight Rider. We then told him to prove it. By throwing it a lot at the floor, wall, etc. Knight Rider was bulletproof, so it shouldn't get damaged. In the end the model was scratched, dented, and doors and wheels were either hanging on by a thread or had fallen off. He was dead upset, and his family gave him hell. Always cringe and feel terrible for being a git at the time. I wasn't really a nasty kid, but that was one time I deeply regretted being a bit of a speep just to get giggles from my friends. We used to play a ball game where you would throw a ball over a car that was driving along the street. I threw the ball, but it went through the open back window and hit a baby in the face. I've never run home so fast. In grade school I called the school custodians a whore. She's the sweetest lady and every student consider her a friend. I didn't know what that word mean. I said it out loud during lunch in front of everyone. Kids started to chant. She cried. I got sent to the principal office. I felt so bad seeing a nice lady cry in front of us. I once destroyed a toy my brother had because I was jealous. When I saw the toy online I bought it and gave it to him. He didn't know why I gave him the toy. He called me the next day and said he thinks he finally realized what happened to that toy. I didn't invite one of the other neighborhood girls to my birthday slumber party because she had just started wearing a bra, and my stupid kid brain thought that would mean she wouldn't want to hang with me and the other 5 girls because we were all still flat-chested. She was crushed and avoided us the rest of the summer, and I still feel bad about it 50 years later. I was playing a game of tag with my cousins. My mom said I was being too rough and forced me to sit on the side and watch. I sat with my back against the wall and my legs outstretched. One of cousins was running towards my legs. And when he attempted to dodge them, I raised my knees, tripping him and making him fly through the air. He ended up with a bloody nose and a few stitches. He did nothing wrong. It's still one of the worst things I've done in my life. I bullied my former friend for about a year. I was trying to fit in but came to my senses eventually and apologized. I'm now on good terms with him and try and help him out whenever I can, and sometimes play games online with him, but the guilt still haunts me. Be nice, kids. You'll regret it forever if you don't. When we lived in Nairobi, I used to stuff these giant worms into a tiny hole in the concrete for fun. I must have stuffed dozens of them in there, and to top it off, I'd take stick and ram them in for good measure. It was brutal. I felt so guilty a few years later. I began dreaming about being stuck in small tunnels. I actually became claustrophobic for years after that, to the point where showering was a massive panic-inducing activity. In middle school, my friends and I cut the heads off of a bouquet of roses that our Spanish teacher's husband had delivered for her. She had stepped out for a second before class and we just destroyed the whole bouquet. She had an absolute breakdown over it. I'm a teacher. I'd like to think a better person. What we did was just stupid and mean. I also feel bad for how we all treated Mr. Pitts. He was an okay guy and we bullied the crap out of him. I hope my students never treat me the way we treated some of our teachers. When I was in 2nd grade, we had a class guinea pig named Spark. I was holding him and he bit me hard enough to draw blood. I didn't drop him or yell when he bit me, but it made me mad. I looked around, saw that no one was looking, and then screamed and threw him. No one questioned it because they saw the bite mark and assumed I panicked. But it was definitely intentional. Spark ended up with a broken leg. I thought my babysitter was abusing me, because I read the definition of abuse in my Boy Scout handbook. And I told my teacher. She was in no way abusing me. And I remember quite clearly her tone of voice when I got there after school. I was crushed. How could I have thought this? She's forgiven me since. But every time my mind wanders to the past I still feel horrible about it. I thank whatever deity is out there she didn't lose her job. She is a wonderful person. Maybe just a tad tough on you if you get bad grades. Wandered away from my dad at the grocery store. Went down an aisle by myself. Opened a jar of peanut butter. Took a scoop with my finger. Closed the jar. Rejoined my dad like nothing happened. It was very out of character for me. I really think it was just an impulsive test to see if I could actually get away with it. For years I was terrified that I would somehow get found out by the store/cops/peanut butter gods. My name is Inspector Skippy. I head up the peanut butter division of SFCT Spreadable Food Crimes Task Force. Despite the countless callers we brought in over the years, the old-timers in the department would often speak of their white whale, the one who got away. They called them the scooper. At the time, they all assumed the perp was a grizzled recidivist, a repeat offender of PB and crime who had been twisted and warped by some childhood trauma. Maybe their father had drowned in a vat at the Jip factory. Maybe their mother had sold them to the circus for a pallet of Peter Pan. I'm almost glad most of those veterans of the force are no longer with us, so they don't have to confront the truth. I may even sweep your confession under the rug, to spare the few who still cling to life. I don't think they could take it. Blamed a babysitter for our apartment getting broken into when it wasn't her fault. I was just upset and wanted to blame someone. I told my mom I saw her leave the door open and my younger brother agreed with me, so my mom fired the sitter. I was under 10 years old. I don't know the sitter's name to apologize.
Space Reddit.